only live webcast that brings you the passion, the power, and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Ruin Hammer Live, the official webcast of Warrior Nation, who are the official Aussie-based supporters movement of the Warriors. I'm your host Hammer, and joining me as usual tonight is my co-host and fellow Warriors tragic, Warrior Roo. Hey Rob, how are you, mate? How's things up there in Queensland?
G'day, mate. Yeah, doing really well, thanks. It's Ekka Week up here in Queensland, so any of you Queenslanders here will know what I'm talking about. It's technically called the Royal Brisbane Show, but everyone calls it the Ekka. It's just a big agricultural show, but really it's just an excuse for a bunch of people to get together and spend a heap of money on rides and show bags and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I took the kids this year for the first time. They loved it. Particularly the show bags, but yeah, no, it was good fun. It's always a good time of year because we get a couple of days off.
Yeah,
Redlands holiday and Brisbane holiday, so it's been a bit of a mixed week. At work one day, leave the next day, work, leave, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, enjoying. Just had a massive downpour of rain.
Yep.
Up here, and there's more rain to come. You've had a bit of rain down there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but how you doing anyway? You all good?
I'm good, mate. I didn't go to the game on the weekend. We're going to get into that. There was a fair bit of bad weather around here in Sydney, and then after I had my bout of pneumonia earlier in the year, even when you and I went to the Newcastle game a couple of weeks ago, I struggled the week after that, and it didn't rain that weekend. It was just overcast. It was cold conditions, and I did struggle that week. So I decided to self-preservation that I wouldn't go and sit out in the rain on the weekend. And after the result, I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Well, I had intended to come down for this game as well. But I had a mate get married on Saturday, so that sort of ended that. And I was sort of going, "Oh, mate, what kind of a mate gets married on a Warriors game day?" But now I'm actually quite glad he got married on that day. So.
Yes.
But yeah, just all the best to you, Chris. Yeah.
On the Ekka, mate. I can. Yeah. I've never been to the Ekka, but my only reference to the whole Ekka, whenever anyone mentions the Ekka, is back in the day on the footy show when they crossed to Trevor Gilmeister and he was drunk as a skunk at the Ekka talking about that. And that's the only thing I associate the Ekka with. Yeah,
like so they have NRL show bags there as well. And I was looking through them and they had every single team. And geez, it was some cheap crap in there. I'll tell you.
Of course it is.
$30. And it was like crazy Clark's quality, like hats, pencil case, all stuff that you're like, I would never buy this individually outside of being given it in a bag at a carnival.
Now, answer the $1 million question here, because we have a similar thing. We have the Royal Easter Show in and around April school holidays here in Sydney, and it's massive. Do they have the Birdie Beetle show bag at Ekka? Because it's the only place you can get Birdie Beetles is at like the Royal Easter Show or the Ekka if they've got it.
Mate, they certainly do. There was like literally a whole row of like booths that were just selling Birdie Beetle. I think you and I had this conversation yesterday. When else does anyone get Birdie Beetle or eat Birdie Beetle? And I couldn't even remember what it was, but you said it. It was like it's like a Freddo.
It's Rice Krispie.
Rice Krispie in it. Yeah. I can't ever. Do they even sell it in shops? I think it literally it's like a traveler. It's like a carny. It's a carny favorite.
It is.
Goes around the Easter show and then the Ekka and all that stuff. But they like it's funny. You look at all the show bags there, and it's like the Cadbury range are all like $7 or $8 each, and you look at look how much lollies you get. But it's literally just a packet of fun-sized cherry ripes or fun-sized just emptied into a bag. And you're like, actually, I could just go and get one of these for like $3 or $4.
Exactly. The Birdie Beetle is the show bag equivalent of the potato on a stick, isn't it? Because the get the potato on a stickies at the fairs and the fun part.
It's like a Foster's beer. You know how everyone reckons like Foster's beers gets. You can only get that if you go to an Australian bar overseas.
That's right. That's true.
So,
absolutely.
So people who have no idea what we're talking about, this is like the carny. This is the carny lifestyle over here in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out if you're ever in Brisbane. Make sure you go to the Ekka in August, or go to the Easter show in Sydney. Easter time, obviously, and check it out. Yeah.
All right, as I said in the opener, Ruin Hammer, we are the official webcast of Warrior Nation, and we're now going live on our Ruin Hammer Facebook page, our Ruin Hammer YouTube channel, and you can catch us on the Warrior Nation Facebook page with the blessing of the great man, Warrior Nation's godfather himself, Richie Morgan. Shout out to you, Rich. Mate, on tonight's show, we're going to look at the Warriors NRL and NRLW doubleheader against the Bulldogs at Accor Stadium. We'll give a quick review of both the NRL and NRLW rounds, preview the Warriors round 24 home game this weekend against the Dragons, and the Warriors women's standalone home game against the Raiders at FMG Stadium in Waikato. And we'll talk some general footy and look at the round coming ahead. Let's get into last week's game, round 23. Bulldogs 32 over the Warriors 14. Some pre-game changes made, which we all thought would happen when we saw James Fisher-Harris named on that extended bench. He came into the starting 13. Marata Nuakore went back to the back row. Lecker moved onto the bench, which I thought was a bit of a weird move. And then late, there was a lot of rumours flying around on Friday regarding Tanner Boyd, and it was confirmed when a whole heap of the Warrior Nation boys headed over to Leichhardt Oval on Saturday afternoon to watch the reserve grade play, and Tanner Boyd trotted out with a reserve grade in jersey number 20, which meant that Tamari Martin was named at halfback for the first grade. Freddie Lussick starting at 9, pushed Sam Healy back to the bench. The Tanner Boyd dropping back to New South Wales Cup, I would liken that. I said this to you last weekend. It's really the first time Webby has demoted a player from first grade to reserve grade. He's done it before. You know, we had Tane playing fullback earlier in the year, and then when Chance came back from injury, Tane went back to reserve grade. Or, you know, Ed Cossie was playing first grade, and then Roger and Dallin are back in first grade, and Ed drops back. That's not a form dropping. That's
injury.
That's due to injury, someone coming in and then covering a position. But Tanner Boyd, after Luke Metcalf got injured, Tanner Boyd was the next man up, so to speak. Tamati Martin's been in the 17 pretty much most of the season, but utilised in that 14 role coming off the bench. This, to me, was the first time that Webby had actually dropped a player, which I thought was a weird one as well, because I'm not saying it wasn't an astute decision by Webby. It's just that Tanner Boyd's biggest asset is his kicking game. And in a wet weather game, that's really what we lacked on Saturday night. What did you think about when you found out that Tanner Boyd was getting dropped from that first grade squad?
Oh, look, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was actually the right call, but at the wrong time and in the wrong conditions.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind Webby sort of addressing the clear issue that we're having, and that's the lack of creativity coming from our halves.
Yep.
And Boyd's been in there, and we've spoken about it. I like the fact he goes deep into the line, but all he's been doing is passing and kicking. He hasn't been running the ball. He hasn't really been creating anything. So I think you know, in my opinion, Webby was right to sort of try and change something up. However, Tamari Martin has a good short kicking game, but long kicking game is not really in his repertoire. And Chanel is probably a little bit better, but doesn't have the range that Boyd has in his kicking game. And mate, like we could not get out of our half in that game. Matt Burton had us in jail all night. We just could not get out of our 20-30 meter zone, and they dominated field position, which led to them getting out to that 20 points to 2 lead. Like we had one shot in their 20, and we got the penalty goal, but they just kicked us to death.
Let me stop you there. I'm gonna go through some points of the game, and I'm gonna ask for your opinion or your thoughts on some of these as we move through it. So, as you said, atrocious conditions. Kia ora, Tracy. Good to see you in the chat, and Malcolm. Always good to see you in the chat, mate. Atrocious conditions. Both teams opting to take the 2 points early on from early penalties for a 2-2 scoreline in that opening 10 minutes. The opening 15 minutes for me was a very tough watch because referee Adam G didn't want to put that whistle in the pocket. He really affected any flow of the game. But the one that really got me, and I blew up Deluxe, and I don't normally get upset when we're losing. I get disappointed sometimes. I don't get upset, but Danny even commented when we were watching that game that I was pretty upset. Warriors penalised for a non-contestable dropout. I haven't seen that all year. Have not seen that all year. I don't know where that rule came from. The fact that it went over the sideline on the full is what we got penalised for. And he's saying it's non-contestable because it wasn't one of those short dropouts where if it goes out like, both teams could have got it. He's saying that there was no chance that we were ever going to get it, and we kicked it out on the full on purpose. Adam G's an absolute clown. What did you think? What did you think of that penalty?
It's just like one of those things that they never seem to penalise until randomly we get pinged for it. Remember when Adam Pompey got done for being a foot or two in front of the dropout earlier in the year? All this stuff that you see let go all the time, and all of a sudden, old Adam G decided to ping us for that. He had it in for us, didn't he?
He did. The next one, on the back of a mountain of possession that the Bulldogs had inside the Warriors' half, they just kept getting six agains. Yeah. You knew that we were going to break at some point, and a try was going to be scored. But the kick-out try, an argument could be made for a double movement. If Wade Egan's was a double movement earlier in the year where he's lying on his back, the ball hadn't touched the ground, and he put the ball down, the fact that kick-out was a clear movement of his body to get the ball over the line in wet conditions, for me, that's a double movement. And I think if the Bulldogs had been playing anyone else except the Warriors, it might have got looked at. But I don't know, for some reason.
I really think that they just looked at it and went, oh, it's wet conditions. So he just slid over the line without actually looking at what happened, like looking at the actual movements. I go, oh, it's wet. So by rights, he would have just, skidded over the try line. But it's a dicey one, 50-50 one. Like you can see someone getting pulled up for it, and that's
absolutely
like Wade a few weeks ago. Yeah, they took half a look at it.
TMM moved into halfback for this game, ruled out with a Cat 1 HIA, early in the game, which forced a major reshuffle. CNK moved to 6, Lecker into the centres. And then no sooner did that happen than Lecker. Then Lecker goes off for a HIA and he collides his nose into Galvin's jaw. And from there, it was just all one-way traffic. Dallin with a customary error in trying to play the ball too quickly.
It was tough.
Bulldogs continued to dominate. They had 60% possession and an 80% completion rate in the rain. And Rincana scored for that 14-2 lead, and then Tuala scored to extend it out to 20-2. And
again on the edges, though, it was against some poor reads on the edges.
Absolutely,
and in wet conditions when they're moving the ball, and they. Yeah, again, it's such a concern. Like everything just sort of went wrong in the back end of that first half. We didn't get out of our own end, and when we got the ball, we turned it over. Yeah.
Poor discipline. 5 penalties we gave away, 3 set restarts, 4 forced dropouts the Bulldogs had. We only had 33% possession, and aside from the early couple of sets, every set was a yardage set inside our own half. It was a difficult 40 minutes for the Waz. We had some good ball early in the second half to start, but we were unable to convert that into points.
We didn't
And then,
we didn't look like it. The attack was just non-existent. We just did
absolutely.
not look like threatening the line at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Crichton with a try. Healy got a try, which I thought was just through pure effort to get to that ball.
Opportunity, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Roger with an intercept late in the game to make it a little bit respectable in the scoreboard. And I know we lost Tamati Martin early, but, mate, and I know we didn't have a lot of opportunity inside the Bulldogs half, but what opportunities we did have, what good ball sets we did have, we just showed no credit at the beginning. We just had no creativity in our attack. A lot fell back onto the shoulders of Chanel Harris-Tavita once Tamati went off, and but yeah, we didn't have a lot of opportunity, mate. We only had one forward run for over 100 metres, so that just goes to show what kind of you can't create opportunities when your forward pack aren't going forward. And Tane and the RTS were the only backs that ran for over 100 metres. So yeah, it's I don't know.
When you're talking about that, I'm just looking to see who I even gave I'm trying to find who I even gave my points to this week, because we'll get to that in a minute, but it was that grim. Like, I remember, because normally we do our Dean Bell medal points after the game, and you and I will usually message each other, and I was sitting there going, I have no idea who I'm going to give my points to this week, because like you said, it wasn't until like the last probably 10 minutes that players actually started making ground, and it was such a tough watch. Like, we almost just constantly trying to come out of our ends. Burton just kicking, like that was you want to talk about someone with a big boot, like Burton, when the only time we had them on the ropes and he pulled out that 40-20.
It's massive, wasn't it?
Huge, yeah, and that just changed. That probably changed the whole momentum of that first half, to be honest, because we just couldn't get anything going. We couldn't get there's no sort of sustained pressure at all. We made mistakes. We had no go forward. We lost one of our halves in an already shuffled halves combination. But yeah, just going back to that, I mean, I'm not trying to say that if Tanner Boyd played, then we would have won, because that's certainly not the case. But yeah, I don't know. It's more of the same, unthreatening side to side attack, not creating any space. And as you said, the only tries we got was from a rebound kick and an intercept, and it's just not filling us with confidence heading into the final 4 rounds of the season, where our for and against is already pretty average.
Mate, I've been a student of the game since my dad introduced me to it way back in the early 70s, and I attended my first game in 78, which was the Bulldogs Magpies game at Belmore Sports Ground. It was an all-in brawl, and I fell in love with the game. You hear people talk about all the time, and it's a 17-man game now. It's not a 13-man game anymore. It's a 17-man game, and you hear people say you pick your best 17 and you find a position for them. The issue that I have in that is I agree, but I think when you pick your best 17 and you find a position for them, you've got to put them in a position that is beneficial to the side. And I think I love Tane as a fullback, but I think playing C and K anywhere but fullback is counterproductive to what we want to do. He's played full centre against the Dolphins. He had, I think, 6 runs for 30 metres. And last week, playing in the centres and then moving to 5'8", he had 4 runs for 19 metres. Now, CNK's biggest asset is his yardage carries. And we've taken away his biggest asset to move him into a position to. So we've weakened one position to try and strengthen another. And I just think that there's ways that Webby could go about shuffling the guys around in that team to still probably maintain that 17. And I don't know how he does it, but I just think playing Chance, and he's picked in the centres again this week, and I hope they prove me wrong, but playing Chance in the centres, I think, is not a wise positional move.
Like when we
the
picked
other one,
Roger, picked Roger in the centres last year.
Yeah, but I would probably have Roger in the centres, Chance back at fullback, and move Tane to the wing at the moment. Because Roger finds a way to get himself involved in the game anyway, regardless of where he's playing.
He injects himself. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one I wanted to talk about was Freddie Lussick. Came into the team off the extended bench. Webby promotes him to the starting hooker and benches Sam Healy. And Lussick goes on and plays. And I thought, okay, I can get that. Maybe Freddie plays for 20 minutes and then Sam comes on and plays the back 60 minutes of the game. Lussick stays out on the field for 46 minutes. So he plays the whole first half and then 6 minutes of the second half before they bring Sam Healy into the game. And the thing that I find weird with that is that Sam Healy is our reserve grade starting hooker and Freddie Lussick starts on the bench in reserve grade. So Lussick can't get a start ahead of Healy in reserve grade, but all of a sudden he's our first choice hooker for this game. And I thought, again, in the wet, in a game where Tanner Boyd's kicking game would have come in handy, I think Healy's fast legwork, his fast feet, would have come in handy in wet conditions around the ruck. And I think that was another thing that kind of really baffled me. And again, I'm not going to say I know more than Webby. I just think that some of his selections are starting to baffle me. And you made the suggestion the other day. It's almost like we've gone back to the days of Stephen Kearney where he's picking guys because they're good blokes. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it really does feel like that. And I think Lussick is just not a fit in this team. He's a bit of a dour footballer. Like he's solid but not spectacular. Like he'll come on and he'll do a job at dummy half. And that's great in like going back to like 2023 when we had a team that was firing and everyone was doing their job and we were scoring points. And if Egan was out, you just bring Lussick straight in. All he needs to do is pass and he doesn't need to create anything. But when Egan is now so pivotal to our attack these days as like an attacking threat, and Healy is similar. Like the whole advantage of having Healy in your team is his running game. Yeah. And like when we're trying to score points and then having Lussick out there who doesn't even run at all. Or did he even run once? I know he didn't when he came on against the Dolphins. It's just it's like Webby clearly likes him because he's re-signed him like twice. Like they inexplicably re-signed him last year, even though we already had Egan and Healy, and we at that time we still had Paulie Roach on our books. It's like what do we need 4 hookers for? But yeah, it just I hate to say it, but that's what Kearney. That's one of Kearney's biggest downfalls is he kept picking guys like Gerard Beale and Blake Ashford and all because they were good blokes and they trained well, but they just don't offer anything and they're just not what is needed in the team.
No,
and and he's there again as 18th man this week. So I'm just hoping that we're not going to have any late changes as far as he's concerned. I mean, there's nothing against him personally, of course. Yeah. It's just I think for this team when we need to start scoring points, we need to be a little bit more threatening in attack. I just don't think he's the answer.
Yeah, mate. 5 losses in our past 7 games, and it really should have been 6. We should never have got away with that win against the Knights.
Yeah.
Should we be worried? And where do you see our points coming from? Because that's the biggest question that is being asked at the moment is our last few tries have been – our tries on the weekend was a kick that Healy chased through and then an intercept from Roger. And then the tries the week before that, I think we had two tries.
Dallas scored 2 tries on the edge. So he scored 2 tries in the corner. And then we were camped on the Dolphins line in that second half and only came up with one try from a bomb, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't know, but we just need we need way more creativity. We need, like, whether we like it or not, I think Egan is now our chief playmaker.
Yep.
And we need some spark out of dummy half. We need to be creating some stuff up the middle. Like at the back end of that second half against the Dolphins, we looked kind of good with Healy darting out of dummy half, and he was finding Martin back end support, and we looked okay there, but it never really resulted in any points. But I don't know. Like I think we need Tane. Like, okay, if we're going to have Tane there at fullback, and look, everyone knows I'm a big fan of Tane. Like we need to see more of his creativity as well.
Yeah.
And like, he's a threatening ball runner, but we know he's got a good passing game as well, and we know he's got a
Yep.
little bit of a kicking game. So we
Yep.
need to start utilizing all these skills, and like in a back line that really lacks pace as well. You know, we just need to. I think we need to be sort of be bursting up through the middle and creating opportunities that way, and that's why I think Egan and Healy are so pivotal. And then and by Munga as well, when he came on against the Dogs, he actually offered a point of difference in attack as well. Like
I thought so
he
too.
gets really busy, gets his hands dirty, and he's got a little bit of a passing game as well. Giving a little bit of a late pass and a bit of an offload. So when he comes on, he's a bit of a handful because he's a big guy. In a team of players that don't look particularly huge, Munga, I remember seeing him at the Broncos game. He was one of our guys that genuinely looks really big.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's come. You're asking the question? Should we be worried? I think we should be very worried, personally.
Well, Malcolm's commented, we don't deserve to be there if we can't get 2 wins from the Dragons, Titans, Eels, and Manly, which are our last 4 games. And I agree. And I'll tell you now, Malcolm, if we don't get 2 wins from those 4 games, I don't think we do get there. I think that's the reality of it at the moment.
We have to. Anything other than like winning games, we might get in there by dumb luck, whereas results just go our way. But like, who wants to go into a final series where you've lost like 6 or 7 in a row? I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, that's right.
You're literally just there making up the numbers. So yeah, and exactly right, Malcolm. Like if we can't beat the Dragons, and then but then we got these are not easy games. I can't stress this enough. I know you look where they are on the table. Dragons have just beaten Canberra and Cronulla. Titans, up until last week, had been in pretty good nick, and they, for whatever reason, they're kryptonite to us. Eels are starting to play some great footy. They've got Moses back. They're looking the goods as well. And then Manly, we're going to be playing there in Brookvale in the final round, and that's going to be Daly Cherry Evans' last home game. And I hardly need to remind you guys how often he has ruined our party with golden point field goals and the like. So yeah, it's not an easy
let me throw some.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Let me throw some numbers at you from the weekend. Just being, and this is the reality of what happened on the weekend. We had 44% possession. We completed at 83%, which was quite good. The Bulldogs completed at 84%. We only had 950 run meters in the whole game. Bulldogs with over 1,200. We had 0 line breaks to the Bulldogs 5. We only had 13 tackle breaks to the Bulldogs 46. We only had 470 kick meters to the Bulldogs 709. Interestingly, we made 308 tackles. The Bulldogs made 299. So the tackles, the amount of tackles both teams made, there was only 9 tackles difference. We missed 46 to the.
We missed 40-something tackles, I think was going to be the stat. Hammer has dropped out, so I'll just continue. Yeah, I mean, we were on the wrong side of all the statistics. The conditions just were not favourable at all, and particularly to a team that is not offering a lot in attack. You need a bit of a point of difference. You need a kicking game. You need all sorts of things to go your way. We didn't get the rub of the green with the decisions and with the referee. So it all ended up in what we saw with a 32-14 scoreline. Very disappointing. Probably one of the most deflating games that I've watched this season, just because there wasn't really much to take away from it. As we said, the tries that we got, an opportunist try from a kick and an intercept late in the game, and the Bulldogs didn't really have much trouble scoring points either, and they weren't in great form themselves. And a lot of people were hoping that it was going to be raining again, as it was when they played the Tigers the week before, and they certainly struggled in those conditions. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because we certainly did not play the conditions well. Hammer has dropped out. I'm not sure what's happened with him, but we'll try and get him back online shortly. So it's interesting when you look at the teams that we would be competing for to get into that top 8. So we've got the Roosters, who are sitting there just outside the 8. And they obviously had a massive win themselves over. Hammer's back. I'll just add him back in. So, welcome back, mate.
I don't know what happened there, mate.
That's all right. I tried to carry on in your absence. I'm just talking about teams that we're competing against to try and get into that 8. So I'm saying the Roosters are sitting there in 9th. They're on 26 points, so they're 4 points behind us. The Sea Eagles are on 24. They're 6 points behind us. But the problem with having such a poor for and against like we do is that if teams that are 4 points behind us are really only 2, because when they draw level, they'll go ahead of us. Correct. Unless we go out this weekend and score 60 points on the Dragons, which we can't see happening, we have no other option really but to just keep winning. It's like results may go our way completely, but there's a couple of key matchups that are going to be crucial. So Broncos and Dolphins this week, and the Roosters are playing the Bulldogs, and there's a few results that are going to have a big impact on how the top 8 eventuates. And we're just lucky the Sharks lost last week. We're lucky the Broncos lost, which still keeps them 2 points behind us. But if either of those teams win this weekend and we lose, they're both ahead of us. So we are hanging on to a top 8 position by the skin of our teeth.
Absolutely,
like literally hanging on to it. So,
mate, can I ask you who you gave your 3-2-1s to in the game on the weekend?
Yes, you can. I'm just going back through my notes to try and find. Okay, I gave 3 points to Tane. I thought he tried really hard all night. He probably looked close to the most likely out of our backline players, I guess. 2 points to Clark, doing what he's been doing all year. I thought he was consistent as he has been all year. And 1 point went to Tanner Stowers-Smith. I thought he was busy, had a high work rate, and he ran close to 100 metres, so he was one of the forwards that did. He's making a good fist of first grade this year.
He is.
What about yourself?
Mate, it's very hard to give points in a game like that, isn't it? My 3 points I gave to Aaron Clark. I thought he was the best on field, only forward to run for over 100 metres, got through 38 tackles or something around that. I gave 2 points to Dimitri Vaimonga. I thought he looked dangerous, and he tried very, very hard, and he looked like the most likely to make a difference out there in those conditions when he was on. And I gave 1 point to Sam Healy. I thought Sam Healy was quite good when he came on in the minutes that he did play. Got our first try and really got us, kind of started to get us back into that game. I gave 1 point to Sam. which means Aaron Clark is well and truly sprinting away with the Dean Bell medal for 2025. He's out on 59 points, and Roger is the only player that could possibly catch him if Roger got 6 points in the last 4 games and Aaron Clark went backwards.
It's hard to see that happening, but yeah.
I can't see that.
Clark going backwards, it's hard to see that happening because he's been so good all year. Yeah.
Let's touch on. Let's put that one to bed. That game's done and dusted, and something we'll talk about, no doubt, in our end of year review. Let's talk about something a good feel story from the weekend. The Warriors 34 over the Bulldogs 6 in the curtain raiser of that game, the NRLW round 6 game played at Accor Stadium. Mate, it was a dominant first half display, particularly in the middle third with Albert Jones and Fotu Moala and Kitai really dominant in the game. Patricia Maliepo continued her great form, creating opportunities, scoring a brilliant solo try herself in the first half. It was the Warriors' defence, though, that was a particular note in the first half. Our Wars defending multiple sets on their line on 2 separate occasions in that first half. And we led 12-6 at half-time. And the second half looked as though the Warriors had extended their lead through a try to Watere, but the bunker overturned that decision. But we then got a try, a great kick chase from Taisha Ikanasio on an Emily Curtin grubber. She scored in the corner to extend the lead. A second try to Maliepo. The very next set, the Warriors were out to complete control 24-6. And then Tyra Watere got a try double midway through the half to take us out to a commanding 34-6 lead. Great game of footy, mate. Dominant runs through the middle from Jones and Butler, Fotu Moala, Kitai. Jones ran for 83 metres, Kitai 89, Fotu Moala 85. Off the bench, Harada Butler 143 metres, Ivanka Lauatiti 127 metres, and Matakino Gray I thought was really good in the front row, running for 78. Season-defining win for the Warriors, this one, mate. First time in the club's history we've had back-to-back wins, and that includes the 3 seasons that we played, 2018, 2019, 2020. It's the biggest winning margin we've ever had. It's the most points in a game. Maliepo now has the most individual points in the game. She scored 18. Taki Moana, 7 tries in 5 games. She's just found a real home on that wing. And coming up against the Raiders this week, who haven't won a game this year, it's a great opportunity for our girls to cement themselves a place in that top 6 moving forward. It was, great game of footy. Patricia Maliepo, she's been a real find in the 6 jersey for us. 123 run metres, 41 post contact, 6 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, and 2 tries. Absolutely outstanding. It was, a great game of footy, mate. Our 3-2-1s for that game, I gave Maliepo 3. Butler got 2, and Leishon Albert Jones 1 point. That's a wrap up. I know you didn't get to watch that game because you had the wedding on Saturday.
I was at a wedding, the wedding on Saturday. But I was keeping up to date with the score. This is awesome stuff from the girls. Like that, this is exceeding everyone's expectations. I think we were all expecting that it would be a bit of a slow burn and to be patient. But this is their 3rd win, and with a chance to go to 4 wins for the season this week against the Raiders is absolutely sensational effort from all involved. Yeah.
It is. They came up against a Bulldogs side that recruited really well. They started the season quite well, the Bulldogs. They're another new team this year. They had 2 wins in their first 2 games, and then they haven't been able to get a win since then. But they've got a really good forward pack, that Bulldogs side. And that was the thing that was going to worry me. But our forwards are really starting to, I was going to say man up, but really starting to stand up in the middle there. Yeah. We've got some great speed out wide. Maliepo is absolutely outstanding at 6. She's another one that's come across from rugby. Emily Curtin, great goal kicker, nailing them from everywhere. Emily Curtin, she became the first player in NRLW history to have 4 forced dropouts on the weekend with her kicking game. Her kicking game, I don't know if you've seen the highlights of Tyra Watere's second try from a kick, which Curtin put on a dime over the top of the Bulldogs wingers, McGregor's head, straight into Watere's hands. Absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, the girls are going really, really good. Coach Rod Griffiths is doing a really great job with these girls, and they've been well led by the veteran Arpy Nichols. So, yeah, exciting stuff for the girls, and it will be, they do need another big win this week to boost their points differential, but they are sitting in the six now, the top six it is for the girls. They are in the top six, so, yeah.
What a result it'd be
stuff.
if they could play finals already
Absolutely.
in their first year back in the comp, yeah.
I'll just touch on the pathways. The flag and the cup both played at Leichhardt Oval on Saturday. A lot of our Warrior Nation brothers went out to those games. So they did we had the Queensland boys flying in from Queensland, the New Zealand boys flying in from New Zealand, Richie Morgan, obviously here in Sydney, shuttling people back and forth. They went over to Leichhardt, watched those games, Ubered it back for the games at the core. So, great supporter involvement from the boys. If you see the photo, if you see the photo after the New South Wales Cup game of the team photo of the Warriors boys, you'll see all our Warrior Nation brothers in the background on that at Leichhardt Oval. Pathways, flag went down 26-14, but our cup won 34-30 against the Bulldogs. A good win considering the guys that had been taken from that team in the first grade for the weekend. But that's sealed the minor premiership, mate. We can.
Yes, we have sealed the minor premiership in the New South Wales Cup, which is a very, very good effort and shows the kind of depth that has been built in there. As Hammer was saying, there's been a number of players that have sort of come in and out of that team, so they have sort of been disrupted. But I remember a quote from David Tangata-Toa, who is the coach of the New South Wales Cup team, saying they always rejoice in players being called up for first grade. So we've got the next man up policy at the club, which Webby has introduced. So anyone that comes into that first grade team is ready to go, and they have had a number of players that they've, like guys like Tane, Tanner Boyd, there's a few other guys, Tanner Stowell-Smith, and a few of the other forwards have sort of been in and out of that team, but they've been able to get consistent results, and that's absolutely fantastic effort to finish first. So let's hope that they can go all the way, and give the New South Wales Cup, lift that New South Wales Cup, I should say, on grand final day. That would be an amazing effort for the club, and it really is good signs for the future when your lower grades are thriving the way that they are. So we will move on now to this week's team. So obviously we have an absolutely massive clash this Friday night back at Go Media Stadium. That's 8 o'clock p.m. local kickoff time, 6 o'clock p.m. over here in Australia on Friday night, and that's up against the Dragons. The Dragons are coming into this game with form. As we said before, they've beaten the Raiders and the Sharks in consecutive weeks. They're a tough, gritty side, if unspectacular. But they're travelling over to New Zealand to take on the Warriors at Go Media Stadium. Their season, technically, if they were able to win this, is still alive. So they still have plenty to play for. So they'll be turning up ready to play, as they always will. And as we said before, there's no such thing as an easy game in this competition. Anyone can beat anyone on their day. And it's no secret that we are struggling. And we have not won a game at home. We've won one out of our last 8, I think, games at home. So, as I said, by no means this is an easy win. But the team that Webby has named to take on the Dragons this Friday night is Tane Tuapiki at fullback, Dallin Watene-Zalesniak and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wings, Adam Pompey and Chance Nickel-Kluckster still in there at centre, Chanel Harris-Tavita at 5'8", and Tanner Boyd returning in the number 7 jersey in the absence of Tamate Martin, who has his mandatory 11-day stand-down period for his concussion. Forwards, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, crucially returning there at hooker, Jackson Ford is the other prop. Leka Halasima, Murata Niokore, and Aaron Clark in the back row. In the change, Sam Healy, Eddie Iremia Toiava, Demetric Bimonga, Tanner Stower Smith. Extended bench, Freddie Lussick, Ed Cossey, Tom Ale, Kales, Fatih Alofa, and Bunty Arfoa. Mate, looking at that side, is there anyone, can you see any late changes being made by Webby? Because let's face it, the last few weeks there has been. Can you see him doing anything here? And can you see Freddie Lussick forcing his way into this side?
I hope not. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes. I personally would name a completely different side. Well, not completely. I would have in this instance with Egan back. I'd definitely have C&K going back to fullback. How that affects Tane, I don't know. Does Tane then become our 14th man and is in that role? Because I'd have Leka starting in the centres, and then we can move, Niokore and Vaimunga. I'd have Vaimunga starting in the back row. Eddie Iremia, Toiava. There's a handful of guys, Sarah Cully, Kalis. There's a handful of guys in Cup that are sticking their hands up. Personally, I was an advocate for having Jet Cleary come in this weekend. I thought this would have been the perfect...
This was a talking point. Yeah.
It was a talking point, and we were talking about it before all the other news media dropped on it. We were talking about Jet being a possibility with Brad and Richie in our little group chat that we have. And it kind of lined up with Penrith playing on Thursday. Ivan and Nathan could have come across the ditch and been there for his debut. I've always been someone that believes if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah.
Jet's 20 and he's been killing it in, the lower grades this year. But I get the fact that it would have been a lot of pressure on a young kid coming in with our season on the line, 4 games to go. I get why they're trying to protect him a little bit. I don't know, mate. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes in this one. I think Webby's trying to get some sort of stability back in our gameplay. So it's just interesting that a guy like Tanner Boyd gets dropped and now he's brought back in. That's the one for me. Like that's why it would be the perfect opportunity to bring in Jet. If Tanner Boyd wasn't good enough last week, then why is he good enough this week? And you got a guy who, and I'm not a Tanner Boyd hater. I'm definitely not. I questioned why we signed him when we did sign him, considering that he was not even third choice halfback at the Titans, who were like vying for the wooden spoon last year. He couldn't get a game there, and they moved him, tried to make him a hooker, and he wasn't even the second or third choice hooker at the Titans, which is why he's left. And then we've picked him up, and for some reason there's a lot of people that think he's going to be our saviour, and I just don't think he's got the gameplay to be a first-grade halfback. And that's nothing against Tanner. I'm not saying, you know what I mean? It's just that some guys are good players and some guys are good first graders and some guys are great reserve graders and they just don't play good footy in first grade. And Tanner's struggled to hold a position down in first grade his whole career.
I'll tell you why a lot of our fans thought that he was going to be good for us, because 2 of his best games in his career, I think, were against us. Yeah. Smart. Yeah. So, if he can play like he plays against the Warriors, then he could be the goods. But look, as I mentioned before, he hasn't offered enough. He's just been passing, kicking, hasn't run the ball. There was a couple of pressure moments in the Newcastle game where he kind of failed to deliver.
Yeah.
Look,
and Jet's an out-and-out halfback. Jet is a true halfback.
Yeah.
You watch Jet Cleary play, he's a true half. And I know he's inexperienced, but Sandon Smith was inexperienced when the Roosters threw him in the deep end. Hugo Savala, a little bit older, but was inexperienced when Isaiah Katoa at the Dolphins was inexperienced when Wayne Bennett threw him in. He was 18 or 19 years old when he made his first grade debut. There's guys out there that make their debut at a younger age and have kicked on. And I just think Jet's got the pedigree.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with all of that. I think, I totally agree. He's older than Nathan was when Nathan made his debut. Nathan debuted at 18.
Yes.
Look, I don't disagree with that, but the fact that we have to get some wins, like there's a lot of pressure. Like we need to win at least 2 of our last 4 games, and these are games that we probably would be expected to win. And I can see where Webby's coming from, saying like it's a little bit unfair to sort of throw him in there and then expect him to produce miracles when he's like, a 20-year-old kid that's never played first grade before and expected to come in and hit the ground running. And if he doesn't do that, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And you see that a lot with young guys thrown in too quickly, and they either struggle to make it or it takes them like a lot of time to sort of recover from that. I think that if we had our top 8 spots sewn up, and we weren't under so much pressure, then maybe you would have thought about it, or perhaps we would get up to the last round against Manly, and then we may have had the luxury of resting some guys, and then he might have rested like Chanel, who's played pretty much all year, and then bring him in just to give him a game, to give him a bit of experience in a match where we're not under pressure to win. But like we're going to be under the pump in all 4 of these games, and so I suppose that's just where Webby's coming from, and we know he doesn't like to make a lot of changes.
No,
even though we made one last week with the halves. But hey, we're one HIA or serious injury away from potentially seeing him next week anyway.
Well, that's true. That's 100% true.
If we get to, I know you'd think that Tomato Martin will come back in next week.
Speaking of Tomato Martin, they re-signed him today. It was announced that he's re-signed for another season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
I like it. I was saying to you guys for a while, I think we should really do exactly kind of what we did and throw him like a 12-month contract. Webby has been outspoken about his what he offers off the bench in terms of his versatility. You don't get too many guys that can play almost every position in the back line, also a bit of dummy half.
Correct.
To come off the bench. He's sort of like a jack of all trades, master of none. Like that's probably a little bit unfair on him. He's an out-and-out half, but the reality is in this team, he's probably not going to be a first-choice half unless we have injuries. So I think Webby's really looking at him in that 14 role, and I think he's been good when he's come on. And in fact, he's even offered more in the halves than Tanner Boyd has. Just doesn't have the long kicking game.
So going into next season, I know I'm getting off topic here because we're talking about the game against the Dragons, but going into next season, we're now going to have Luke Metcalf, Tanner Boyd, Tamati Martin, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Luke Hanson, and Jet Cleary. And what's the other guy's name? Sorry,
Lene. Is it Jai Lene? Someone Lene?
Yes.
Yeah.
All in our halves. We've got 7-8 halves next season.
Yeah. So do you know what I was reading during the week? Apparently Chanel and Tanner Boyd have player options.
Tanner Boyd's taken it up.
He's taken it up, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And it's hard to see Chanel going anywhere else. So okay, Martin, I think, will remain a utility or a backup half. He's first grade ready, and I think you've just got him there on standby. I don't even think he would be a first choice 14, to be honest. I think he'll play more if we don't have injuries next year. Touch wood, then he won't see a lot of first grade.
I see Chanel. I see Chanel as our 14.
14, yeah. So one of those,
because
out of the equation, one of those guys has to become a 14.
Yeah. Well, I know Luke Metcalf did a great job at halfback this year, stepping into that 7 jersey. But I actually think Luke Metcalf's a better 6 than he is a 7. And it's interesting, if you watch Sean Johnson got to rate his greatest spine that he ever played with, he rates Luke Metcalf as the best 6 he's ever played with in his career. That's how much he thinks of Luke Metcalf. And I look at Luke because Luke's first thought is run first, pass later. He's not really an organizer. He's more play off the bat.
Yeah.
I can see Luke Metcalf as our 6 next year and Jet Cleary as our 7. And that would be a halves combination I'd love to see.
Oh, that would be a great story. And that would be, like we're worried about where our points are going to come from this year. Well, next year we'll have sort of an embarrassment of riches there.
Yeah.
We'd have playmaking ability, we'd have off the cuff, we'd have X factor, we'd have all that sort of thing. I haven't seen a lot of Jet Cleary, but what's his kicking game like? How's his long kicking game?
He's got a good kicking game. Yeah. Very good kicking game.
Mate, look, yeah, he has. If Jet has a big off season, he might. You could be right. He might just find himself in the halves with Luke Metcalf, or it might be the case of someone else. Chanel starts next year, and then Jet just bursts the door down and comes in like Sean Johnson did in 2011 and finishes the year as our halfback. But you're right. Like, that is a lot of halves to still have on the books, and so surely he's had I don't know. Lanane only just got signed this year, so he ain't going anywhere. So maybe some of those other guys are going to go.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Interesting game. It is back at home. That really means nothing, though, does it? Because our form at home hasn't been good. I know what your answer is going to be, but what are you predicting for this game, mate?
Oh, I think this is going to be a really tight game.
Really?
As I said before, the Dragons have still got plenty to play for because they're still mathematically a chance to play finals footy, and that they're in good form. So I think very, very nervous 2-point win. Very, very nervous. I can see us trying to battling, just hanging on at the end there. Yeah. What about yourself?
Dragons have been gritty, mate. They've beaten the Raiders and the Sharks the past 2 weeks. They're two big scalps. So they're coming into this game with a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence. Guys like, Cook and Gutherson, they know how to win games. They've got speed out wide with Tyrell Sloan. And let's not forget, they have a great state of origin winger in Corey Allen.
Corey Allen. I was going to say that they've got speed to burn on one wing, and then they've got a state of origin superstar on the other wing. He's still won more series deciders than Nathan Cleary.
Yeah. I don't know what the weather's predicted to be like in New Zealand. Yeah, look, I'm going to say that because our season is on the line, we get there, and it'll be less than a converted try.
Doesn't matter how we get there, as long as we get there.
Yeah, we get there with just a converted try or under. I think it'll be.
I think Tracy summed it up there. We're all just like, please, anyway, whatever it takes.
Apologies for dropping in and out. Did you go through the results from last week, mate, or do you want me to quickly go through?
No, I haven't yet. Let's just go through those quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Last Thursday, Storm 22 over the Broncos 2. Broncos, a lot of injuries in that game, mate. They've lost their half of their. Yeah, absolutely. They lost Reynolds and Mam in the same play with the same injury. So that was an interesting one. And the Storm doing us a favour. Then it was the Friday night was the Panthers 48 over the Knights 12. Panthers getting themselves their 9th win in a row. Mate, 10 weeks ago, they're coming dead last, and they're now 4th on the ladder. Yep.
Yeah.
Raiders 28 over the Seagulls 12. That was an interesting game. Saturday, the Dragons 22 over the Sharks 14. The Dolphins and the Roosters. Roosters 64 to the Dolphins. The Dolphins either win by 50 or they lose by 50. So they can't win the comp now. They've lost by 50.
They can't.
Four players sin-binned at one time, creating an 11-on-11 scenario, all because of Spencer Leniu, who has to be one of the dumbest rugby league players I've ever seen. And if that gets out to him, then he's going to not want to talk to me either. I'll be on his hate list. Mates,
Hammer.
Sam Walker with his goal kicking. He got to 27 conversions in a row before he missed that one on the weekend. So he was chasing the great Hazem El Masri, who has the record at 35. Sam Walker falling short of that one. And then, of course, it was the Bulldogs 34 over the Warriors 14. Sunday, Spoon Bowl. The Rabbits 20 over the Titans 8. Alex Johnson with a try double to reach 209 career tries. He's only 3 short of the great Ken Irvine now.
Jaden Campbell with one of the biggest bomb tries of the season. Did you see that
one? Yes.
Trying to bring it 2 meters closer for the goal kicker and got the ball whacked out of his arm. He won't do that against us in a couple of weeks.
No, he won't. And then probably the most entertaining game of the whole weekend was the Eels 19 over the Cowboys 18. What I did love was I loved watching Mitch Moses just absolutely give it to Talon De Silva, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the final 8 minutes for just absolutely poor service from dummy half.
He can do that. Like, may that continue for the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And the Tigers had the bye so quickly. The Raiders remain on top of the ladder, 38 points. Storm in second place and the Bulldogs in third, both on 36. The Panthers have now clawed their way into that top 4 on 31 points. 3 straight losses sees the Warriors drop out of the top 4 for the first time since round 7. We're now in 5th spot on 30 points. Losses by the Broncos and Sharks keep them in 6th and 7th respectively, both 28 points. And then the Dolphins round out the top 8 on 26 points, despite their loss to the Roosters. The Roosters, who are also on 26 points, move into 9th. And then they're really going to put some pressure on the bottom 4 of the top 8, I think. And then I don't think the others can make it. Sea Eagles on 24, Dragons and Tigers 22, Eels jump the Cowboys. They're now on 20, Cowboys 19, Knights 18, Bunnies on 18 points as well. And the Titans now look odds on to claim their club's 3rd wooden spoon on 16. But they do have a game against us coming up, the Titans.
Yeah, so they may get one more win.
Yeah. The NRLW round 6 recap. Sharks 20 over the Dragons 6. Dragons with a lot of injuries and suspensions in that one. The Knights 30 over the Tigers 6. Jessie Southwell was on a kick streak as well. She missed her second conversion of the game. She had a streak at 23 consecutive. Man, I got shit popping all over on my screen at the moment. Warriors 34, Bulldogs 6. Roosters 24 over the Titans 8, keeps their unbeaten run going. Broncos 44.
And we're out again. I can recap those NRLW scores for you as well. Just bear with me and I'll bring that up. He's back. Apologies for that. Sorry, mate. I was just trying to. While you were gone, I was frantically trying to find the NRLW scores, and I couldn't.
I've got him here, mate. Where did we get up to in the NRLW?
I've only just brought them up there, so
okay.
It must have been fascinating for our viewers.
Okay. NRLW Sharks 20 over the Dragons 6. Knights 30 over the Tigers 6, Warriors 34 over the Bulldogs 6, Roosters 24 over the Titans 8, Broncos 44 over the Raiders 28. That record of home losses extends to 10 now for the Raiders, and the Cowboys 14 over the Eels 10. Roosters remain undefeated at the top of the table on 12 points. Broncos and Knights are on 10. The Cowboys are on 8, and then the Sharks and Warriors are on 6 points, and that rounds out the top 6. Then the Eels just outside the top 6, they're also on 6 points. Bulldogs and Titans on 5, Dragons on 4, and Tigers and Raiders yet to record points for the season. We've spoken about the Warriors round. What round is it? 24 coming up? Yes. We've got the NRLW round 7 against the Raiders, mate. Have you got the team list for that?
Yes. We have RP Nichols at fullback, Tyler Watade and Peyton Takimoana on the wings. In the centres, Taisha Ikanasio and Emanita Paki. The halves, Patricia Maliepo and Emily Curtin. Front row, Fotu Moala, Turoa Quedley is the hooker. Lavinia Kitai is the other prop. Mari Pukatapu and Kaya Atai in the back row. Lation Albert Jones at lock. On the bench, Capri, Paikal, Matakino Gray, Harata Butler, and Ivania Lauatiti rounding out the side. And they'll be wearing the special Indigenous jersey this weekend as well, the blue one.
They will.
Good looking jersey. I think it's even better than
the
Blokes one.
So do I.
Yeah.
Would have worn it last week, but it would have clashed with the Bulldogs. So that's the reason that it wasn't worn last week. And with the clashing of jersey, I think us and the Roosters are the only two teams that had a specific Indigenous jersey for the women. I think the other teams all wore the same Indigenous jersey that the men's teams had. So great initiative by the Warriors. Yeah, great initiative by the Warriors. It is a good-looking jersey. Going to be an interesting game, mate, because Raiders haven't won a game this year. They're going to be desperate for a win. It's one of those things, too. There's a lot of Kiwi-born players in that Raiders side. They're coming home. Yes, yeah, exactly. They're coming home to play in front of their family, which could be a real boost. Although, saying that, I really think the Warriors have hit a great patch of form at the moment. They've got a lot of belief in what they're doing. We have speed out wide, and we've got some really hard workers and great leaders in the middle. Our halves are really starting to combine, and I think this is going to be another win, a third win on the trot for our girls, and I think we'll get up by probably 12 to 16 points.
Yeah, I agree. I think the girls will keep the ball rolling, and I think they get away with a pretty comfortable win.
Yeah.
As long as Mackenzie Wiki just doesn't do what her father used to do when she was in a Raiders jersey playing in New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting, isn't it? Because there's a couple of girls playing in this whose relatives are greats of the club. Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Her dad, obviously, Ruben, played for the Warriors and the Raiders. Ivana Lauatiti, whose dad was Ali Lauatiti, played for the Warriors. And then you got Lashon Albert Jones, whose uncle is Stacey Jones, another great Warrior. So
played a couple of games for the Warriors,
yeah, just a few. Some great names from yesteryear running around out there this weekend. In this game. So, going to be great. Let's have a quick look at the other games in round 24, mate, for the men. Thursday night kicks off with the Panthers versus Storm. Who you got in this one?
I think the Panthers. Storm are still missing Jerome Hughes. Panthers are in irresistible form. So, I'm gonna stick with them. Unfortunately, it'd probably be better for us if the Storm were to win. But, it's hard to go past the Panthers at the moment.
It is. The Panthers are they're in form. They've won 9 in a row. They've got the Storm this weekend. Then I think they play the Bulldogs, the Raiders, and the Dragons to finish off the season, and then go into the finals. They're my tip to win the comp now, unfortunately.
I know. It's hard to see anyone beating them at the moment.
Yeah.
They seem to have recaptured all their magic.
Absolutely. The Wiki Cup versus the Raiders.
Yeah.
I like that. I think the Panthers in this one, mate. I think Jerome Hughes is a big out for them. Isaiah Yeo not playing for the Panthers as well, but I just think Cleary and Edwards and the like get them home. Friday night, Warriors versus Dragons. We've both tipped a tight Warriors win in that one. Roosters versus Bulldogs is the second game. This is a cracking game of footy. I reckon the Roosters will get the Dogs. I just think the Roosters are in a bit of form at the moment too.
I agree. And I don't think you can read too much into the Dogs' performance last week when we were so poor. But it would be way better for us if the Dogs did win.
Yes,
so
absolutely. It would.
I think my head is saying Roosters, but my Warriors heart is saying Bulldogs.
Saturday, Super Saturday kicks off with the Sharks at home again. Gee, they seem to play at home a lot. The Sharks against the Titans. And did you hear that if they qualify fifth or sixth, they're going to get a home final at Shark Park that holds about 8 people? That's and I can see us dropping to 7th and them finishing 6th, and we have to play them at Shark Park in the finals. And there'll be no tickets available for Warriors fans.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sharks versus Titans, mate. I'm going to pick Sharks in this one.
Sharks versus Tigers.
Titans.
Oh, Titans. Oh, yeah. It has to be Sharks, but again, it would be better if the Titans could do us a favour. But it's a double-edged sword because then we've got to play them the week after. So I don't know what I want.
1 week at a time, mate. 1 week at a time.
Yeah. Sharks.
Broncos versus Dolphins. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I think the two big outs for the Broncos are Reynolds and Mayer. So I'm going to go the Dolphins.
Yeah. Oh, this is a really hard one to pick. I was listening to that dribbler Dobbo on the radio this afternoon. He was dribbling as usual, but they did have Ben Hannon on there who was actually speaking some sense.
Yep.
And he was saying, like, you look at the two teams and you look at the Broncos still have a very good forward pack. I know they've lost both their halves, but they got Ben Hunt coming in there. I didn't realise Ben Hunt hadn't played finals footy since 2018.
Well, was it the Dragons?
But he's been the Dragons all those years, I suppose. Yeah. They got Ben Hunt coming in there and Billy Walters. So it's and they still got the superstar Reece Walsh at the back. And if he plays smartly, then I think the Broncos will be too good for the Dolphins. But I think the lack of personnel will keep this relatively close. And I think the Battle of Brisbane always brings out the best in both sides. So I think the Dolphins will be right up for it. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know which one of these is it better for us for the Dolphins. It probably is. It's probably better for us for the Dolphins to win, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Rabbits versus Eels to round out Super Saturday. Mate, I'm going to go the Eels. I think the Rabbits still got a lot of injury concerns. Good win on the weekend, but it was the Titans.
Yeah, and the Cheese doesn't have to worry about being confronted by police when he turns up for this game either.
No. Sunday, Tigers.
I think the Eagles, yeah.
Tigers versus Sea Eagles on Sunday. Sea Eagles are so hot and cold. Yeah, I'm going to go Tigers as well.
Yeah, it's better for us too.
Yep. And then Cowboys versus Knights in a non-event.
Get this. I don't know. The Knights have played like the last 3 free-to-air Sunday games on Channel 9. And then the Knights have been... Is this like Thurston and Joey Johns just having their way at Channel 9 there?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like, how do we come to this part of the season and have the Cowboys versus the Knights? I guess I know they picked the games like well in advance, but yeah, geez.
I'm going the
Cowboys, I think. Cowboys at home, yeah.
And the Raiders have the bye, and then we've got the NRLW round 7. A couple of games to get through here. Sharks versus Titans. I'm going to go the Sharks in that one.
Sharks.
Eels, I'll go the Bronx.
Yeah, Broncos.
Warriors, Raiders. We've both picked the Warriors in that. Sunday, Tigers versus Dragons. Tigers still haven't won a game. Dragons have a couple of key ins coming. They got Tegan Berry's back, Indy Bostock's back, and Racing McGregor. So I'll go the Dragons. Roosters versus Knights. This is going to be a cracking game, but I'm going to go the Roosters at home.
Oh yeah. I think Roosters will be too good at home. Yeah.
And then the final game is the Cowboys versus Bulldogs. I'm going to go the Cows.
Yeah, Cowboys at home.
All right. Just a couple of things before we wrap up, and I do apologise for the internet problems that I've been having tonight. I don't know. I don't know if it's the laptop itself, mate, because I'm getting fucking shit coming up all over the screen while I'm on. So I'll have to get the wizard that lives downstairs to come and have a look at it before next week. We got some Warrior Nation. Yep, Warrior Nation updates next week before the game against the Titans. We're going to have a Warrior Nation fan meetup at the Sporting Globe. I think we'll get Richie Morgan on next Wednesday night to talk about that.
Yes.
Let everyone know what's going on. So, yep, we'll get Richie on next week for that. And then the final game, the final away game for the Warriors is against Manly at 4 Points Park in a couple of weeks' time. And we're going to have a pre-game meetup at the Brookvale Hotel before we go there. So, they're the two that are coming up. Just remember next week in Gold Coast, if you get into the Gold Coast game, make sure you come along to the Sporting Globe, which is always a great venue for a pre-game meetup. It's always good. The staff up there are great. They love us. What port am I downloading, Emma? None, mate. Oh, thanks, Malcolm. A little bit of housekeeping, buddy.
Yeah, mate. Make sure you check out Vital Man for all your men's supplement needs, run by the great man, Warrior 134, Michael Witt. Go in there and check it out to grab your meal replacement shakes and male enhancing supplements. Use the code RuinHammer and you will get 20% off your order. Vital Man, take the lead. Thank you to all you guys who support us on Patreon. It's much appreciated. If you would like to support us and what we do, make sure you jump on Patreon, check out some of the packages we have on there. Start as little as $3 a month, or if merchandise is your thing, you can go for our silver or platinum packages as well, which entitles you to some of our fantastic Ruin Hammer merchandise. And speaking of which, another way you can support us is to go to our Ruin Hammer store on Redbubble. Telling you guys, they've got a sale on at the moment, 25% off store wide. So you can get yourself a Ruin Hammer shirt for about $25. So make sure you jump on there and check it out. We've got some great designs on there. We've got Aaron Clark, we've got Lekka Halasima, we've got all your favorites. We got Luke Metcalf, and we've got the new Up the Waz shirt, hot off the press. Make sure you check that out. And a portion of every sale does come back to us and help support us with what we do here at Ruin Hammer. Hey,
absolutely.
That's about it. Yeah.
That's about it. That wraps it up. I do apologise for the porn download tonight that did interrupt the show. Thank you for everyone's patience. Always great to see everyone in the chat. We really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. If you're getting out to the game this weekend at Mount Smart, be loud and proud. Our reserve grade are playing in Sydney this weekend, I think. I don't know where. Let me just check.
Yeah.
Before we go, talk amongst yourselves.
Discuss.
Yeah, go. I'm pretty sure our reserve grade. Someone might beat me to the punch, but I'm pretty sure our reserve grade are actually playing this week We are playing at St Mary's League Stadium on Saturday at 1:00. So if you want to and you've got time, you can get out there and support the boys in their quest for the club's first reserve grade premiership. Having a great season. So if you get out, everyone be safe and stay safe and up the Waz.
Up the Waz. Take care.